So I don't really know how to do these introductions anymore because it's always the same thing again and again. Maybe I just need to replay the old ones. But the bar just keeps getting lower and lower and lower for Pakistan cricket. Of course, all the Indian viewers will be in the comments. But to be honest, we've heard it all. So keep it coming. There isn't anything more that we can take or hear, which might not play with our emotions. But I've got Moin here with me. Look, this, if you're here for analysis and Imal Wasim missing, cutting, a left arm spinner and all of those deep analysis, I don't think this is the time for that anymore. Maybe Moin, you can help with that. But for me, I'm just going to give meme content because I've had enough of this team. But I'll leave the serious talk to you.
Thank you so much, Zahid, for that really, really generous contribution that you've given to me. You've given me the most difficult task because it's very difficult to separate emotion from objectivity, but I'm going to do my best, okay? Um, Look, Pakistan will never get a better chance to chase down a total that some may say was slightly subpar. I use the word slightly because, as we saw in the game on the next day, it wasn't a one off. But Pakistan dominated for, I'd say, a little more than half the game. I disagree with a lot of what commentators and pundits have been saying about Pakistan dominating for 35 out of 40 overs. No, they didn't. Need I remind everyone, like if we start from the beginning, we've talked a lot about Pakistan's batting and we will touch on it or more than touch on it today. But let's just start from the beginning. Pakistan conceded over eight runs and over in the first 10 overs, despite dismissing Kohli and Rohit in the first 3 overs of the game. That's unreal. On a pitch like this, when you're looking at fine margins, yes, Bumrah was the difference, but he wasn't the only difference. For me, the big difference was also Rishabh Pant. In fact, for me, I thought Rishabh Pant might actually get man of the match, not only because of his batting, he also took three excellent catches. But with the bat alone, his 42, daring, risky, classic punt, but hugely innovative, was a real differentiating factor because he did it when seeming conditions were far more extensive than in the second innings when the sun came out. But I have to say, those first 10 overs were worth their weight in gold for India. Pakistan, as usual, and I've said this so many times, they always go after the magic ball. It's as if they've never seen swinging conditions before. And they're like, oh, I can't wait to get onto this wicket and just keep bowling those in swinging Yorkers. I think Shaheen Afridi is still stuck in 21. He's still trying to recreate that ball to Rohit Sharma from 2021. And it's like it's getting a bit old and boring. Even Rohit Sharma is just waiting for it, and the way he just easily, nonchalantly just hits him over, um, over fine leg and square leg is almost embarrassing because he's your ace bowler. The issue is when you have conditions that are so well suited to you, why do you want to go for those in swinging Yorkers that end up being full tosses and take the pitch out of the equation? Just line and length and let the pitch do the work for you. Bumrah, in his press conference, actually said in as many words, I was not searching for the magic delivery, that's why I was successful. If anything, that I think that's a dig at Pakistan's bowlers because that's exactly what Pakistan were trying to do for the first 4, 5, almost 7, 8 overs. After every two good balls, there'd be a bad ball. The, the level of maturity between the two sides is much, much like the gap between the two levels of maturity is far more severe than it's ever been. India was so disciplined. Line and length, discipline, line and length, kept the pitch in the game. And I think that, in my opinion, was one of the key differences.
Yeah. And look, if you spent a fair bit of time doing a bit of a Babar Azam, I'd say you've kind of blame the bowling a little bit,
No,
not really focused on the batting,
no, no,
which we'll
I'm
come on
definitely.
to. But I'll touch on to the second part of your, or the ending part of your comment there, where you mentioned about line and length and all that stuff, without getting too technical, because I promised at the beginning that that's not where I'm going to go with my with my style of presenting in this video. But Pakistan let India get on do that, right? Because they just never really did anything daring. Rizwan played one silly shot, got out. But you mentioned Rishabh Pant. He did. He played a couple of those daring reverse sweeps, lap sweeps, which kind of made the bowlers lose their line. Akshar Patel also hit that cut shot, or that cut over slip for six. So they were doing these things, whereas Pakistan were just letting India bowl to them, and kind of didn't do anything extraordinary until Naseem Shah played that ram shot, which was too late anyway. So there is, you mentioned, yes, it's obviously maturity, but also skill and execution and all of that. But you know what? Fundamentally, I think the batting is to blame at the end of the day. 120, regardless of the conditions. Yes, South Africa, Bangladesh, again, you can say, I mean, Bangladesh should have won that had there been some dodgy umpiring decisions. They also missed a couple of full tosses. But, anyways, look, yeah, if Iftikhar had hit at least one of those three full tosses, Pakistan would have won, right? So there's a lot to blame conditions wise, but eventually it just comes down to skill, and which is where I actually question the quality of the PSL. Whereas all these players have been doing really well in the PSL. Shadab was man of the tournament. Babar Azam was top run scorer. Iftikhar was hitting sixes. Azam Khan, all of that. And then here you have it. These guys have been Usman Khan with 3 centuries, or like 2 centuries and a 90 something. He was clueless. He was
He
clueless,
was
and it wasn't
so
like
so poor.
it
I
wasn't
mean,
like they were bowling
I'm
at like
still.
150, right? He was bowling at 140, 145, not even 145, and he was clueless.
Yeah, look,
Yeah, it's embarrassing. And look, I don't know. Maybe it's time to do away with the PSL. I mean, that's not going to happen, but they need to really have a serious look at it. If it's just for entertainment purposes, or maybe they only play the PSL and not play international cricket. Maybe that's the level, and just enjoy their nihadis and their meet and greets and all of that. Because really, I mean,
I mean, they're
they
all
clearly
inclusive
play international
holidays to
cricket.
around the world, right? Look, I completely agree. And just before I get lambasted for blaming the bowling, I'm absolutely not blaming the bowling. All I'm saying is, I think it's majority of it lies with the batting, but I do think the bowlers have not had a lot of airtime because the batting has been so shambolic. I still think we weren't very good in the first 10 overs, but never mind. The batting is hands down the single biggest contributor to the loss. And you're right. I mean, it's yes, it's lack of intent, it's planning, it's lack of game awareness, but contrary to what lots of people are saying, which is, oh, we've never seen this before, how Pakistan froze with the bat, or at least not seen this for a long time. I actually think we see this every time. This reminded me of the 2022 Asia Cup final. Do you remember that game? Where
Yeah,
Sri Lanka had 170 and Pakistan got this one really good over, and we were coasting. We needed run a ball, and it was Iftikhar then also who froze. And suddenly, everything dried up. We couldn't get the boundaries. We couldn't get the singles, doubles, dot ball after dot ball, and we lost momentum. And we left too much till the end. This whole mantra of wickets in hand and just as long as you keep going, keep going, keep wickets in hand is actually fraught with risk, because actually what you're doing is putting all your eggs in one basket, which is the last 2, 3 overs, and one good over there from the bowling side with Bumrah or anyone else for that matter, and curtains. So it has happened before. In fact, Bangladesh Pakistan in the T20 World Cup, which was effectively a quarter final. Do you remember we were stuttering in that
yeah,
chase? We were stuttering, and then we needed a Muhammad Haris, and yes, Shan Masood was very good, but Muhammad Haris came and injected momentum. Even the
yeah.
semi final, New Zealand. Do you remember after a really good start, suddenly it was just over a runner ball, and we lost a couple of wickets. Suddenly pressure started telling, and you needed a Muhammad Haris release. Muhammad Haris
Yeah.
was missing. Before that, it was Asif Ali in the Asia Cup against India, if you recall the one game that we won against India in the Asia Cup.
That
Uh,
also after Arshdeep dropped him, but anyways.
yes, the biggest sitter that Arshdeep will probably never, like, nobody will forget of Arshdeep, but Again, you needed a bit of momentum in there. And unfortunately, with the current crop of players, you don't have that after Fakhar Zaman. You know, this we
After
talk
or before.
or before for that matter, yes, or before. But Iftikhar Ahmed, okay, that guy literally has never won a single game for Pakistan. This Ifti Mania PR machine has got him in the team again and again and again. And so much so that he doesn't even have a replacement in the squad. So he knows he's going to play every game. And it is baffling that he missed three full tosses, one of which was a free hit, or it was a no ball, actually. It was the ball
Yeah,
before
it
the
was a
free
free
hit.
hit. Yeah.
The free hit was also a simple delivery. Two, and look, I know everyone talks about Bumrah full tosses, but let me just clear a myth here. This wasn't those low full tosses that felt like Yorkers. These were knee high.
The second one
And
was the leg stump. That was should have gone for six. I mean,
exactly. And Iftikhar Ahmed only has one six hitting shot now left, which is over mid wicket. And this was right up his arc. And he kept missing and then eventually got out off a full toss. It was a simple full toss. He missed it. He got out. Right. So, and yes, we talked about Mahd Wasim clearly missing his execution, couldn't get a left arm spinner away when he himself refuses to bowl when a left handed batter is on. You're right. It's all skill or lack thereof. It's all about execution. And, I think Gary Kirsten alluded to it, right? He's like, if people don't evolve, people don't develop, then they don't have a place in the team. It's just
yeah.
unfortunate for him that there's no one in the squad to replace these people for the next
Honestly,
couple
I
of
don't. I
games.
don't. It is, yeah, I mean, in the squad, I think this World Cup is dead anyway. It doesn't matter. They should.
True,
We're
true.
recording this before the Canada game. They're probably going to lose anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Just get them out of the misery. Again, my biggest complaint about this match, because I was pretty much, in the previous episode as well. I'd lost all hope. I knew 99.99%. I said Pakistan will lose, even if when India won the toss, Pakistan won the toss. Even when the score was 120, if you remember in our WhatsApp chats, I said it's still 50-50, despite everything that was going on. But that's my biggest complaint, that Pakistan painfully took it to the last. But I thought they'd get 75 all out. It would have been fine if they did that. At least, we would have been done with it. But like the US game, with the rain delay in this game and all that, this game again was extended. So the misery and the agony of the Pakistan fan is prolonged till the last possible second, which is the most
But,
frustrating part of this entire
it,
of these entire two
you know,
games.
but I think the one extra point of annoyance was also the fact that there was some little hope, right? When Fakhar
Yeah.
Zaman was at the crease. Like, look, I completely understood Fakhar's intention. Like, we all talk about turning points, right? Turning point was clearly Rizwan's wicket. The brain fade that he felt that he had when he missed. Firstly, why are you trying to play across the line a mid-wicket hoik, which is his release shot, when it's the first ball of Bumrah's return spell? It's absurd. The Even if it was Bumrah's like fourth, fifth over consecutively, and you've had a
Yeah.
big sighting, you don't do it off Bumrah. But he did it just
Yeah.
after Fakhar had got out, which was absurd. He had soaked up
Yeah.
so many deliveries. All he had to do was just stay there till the end. If you're going to soak up so many deliveries, at least you stay there till the end.
Yeah.
That was a really ill-advised, miscalculated shot against the world's, in my opinion, the world's best fast bowler. And on the
Yeah.
other
No
hand,
doubt.
Fakhar Zaman, well, like, I completely agree with that intent, by the way. I completely agree that what he was sent out to do, and he was there, a man on a mission, he wanted to kill the chase. And I completely agree with that. But why come down the track when you're facing your first ball off Pandya? I know he was in, but it was his first ball
Yeah.
he was facing off Pandya. At least have a sighter. You have enough time. And even if you do get that sighter and you're well settled, why come down the track when Fakhar Zaman, of all Pakistani batters,
Yeah.
is the one guy who can hit the ball long even when he's back in the crease? Like, he just didn't have to take that level of risk. He could have had that intent. Shot selection was poor. And I have to say, we turned Pandya into a superstar. Like,
Like we
I
always
think
do.
Pakistan, no, we've always done it. It's not. It's
Yeah.
I can give you a whole list of them. They have the Asia Cup. We made this guy feel like a Malcolm Marshall with his short ball bat on.
2022, the 2022 World Cup. He was the one who got those three, two, three
Yes,
wickets.
exactly. I'm
It's
going to
the
come on
same
to that.
thing with
Exactly
these
that.
short of a length deliveries.
Exactly.
Heather Ali and
I
all
think
those.
I think in Pakistan we feel that Pandya is a weakling, and we probably don't like his ego, but we end up inflating his ego, and we end up literally giving it to India on a silver platter. It's almost as if Rohit Sharma knows that I'm going to just give out the bait in the form of Pandya,
Yeah,
and Pakistan, like always, will come running for it. Like, and that's what happened again. It's like you're literally. It's now Pandya is going to be like the clear wicket taker for against Pakistan because we
yeah,
somehow
it's
can't
easy.
control our aggression
And of short
against him,
deliveries, and
and
you
it's
know that he's going to do that. You know he's going to bowl it
you
short, and
you
you
know
know
it.
he's going to do
And
this.
Shadab Khan, who's just like making room. Come on, like you're making room as if you're expecting Pandya to bowl a ball in the slot. You're not going to get at this level. You're not. It's not PSL. You're not going to get gentle pie. You're going to get balls that are aimed at your weakness. And Pakistan's
Yeah,
weakness, age old weakness, is short balls. And actually, Pandya has a really good short ball. It's very
yeah,
well directed, and he does it every time. And literally, Rohit Sharma gave out the bait. We criticized that decision of bringing Pandya back. We thought Bumrah should have come back for that over sooner. But he handed the bait, and Pakistan fell for it.
yeah,
It really is shocking.
yeah.
Um, and look, spare a thought for Naseem Shah. I think in all that doom and gloom, Naseem Shah shows Iftikhar Ahmed, Shadab Khan, Imad Wasim, Usman Khan, nearly all the batters,
Rizwan.
Rizwan, Babar, Fakr even to an extent, how to do it. Literally, he
Yeah,
did. Yes, he had Ashdeep, who's probably the worst, the lot of bowlers from India, but still, at number 9. Now, I understand that a tail ender, when he bats, he always bats with less pressure because there's less expected of him. And the one thing a tail ender does, which I think is important for Pakistan to listen and learn from, is the reason why they sometimes get away with these shots and the top order doesn't is because they keep it simple. And
yeah,
the thought process, is very clear because they don't overcomplicate. They don't think too much. Simple as they don't think too much and they just go with it. There's not much expected of them and they just don't think too much. Iftikhar, Imad, and Shadaf felt like they had literally cast a web around themselves and they just could not see the ball
yeah.
because they just overcomplicated it.
I wonder if
Uh,
If I was, he will still pick himself as the all
yes,
rounder
exactly.
in his team.
you know, I mean, I think Naseem Shah is a better all rounder than him. I think, and did you notice Shaheen Afridi wanted to deny the single and stay on strike? I mean,
Oh,
who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Sir Gary Sobers, for God's sake. Like, who are you? You literally take the single
yeah,
because any run is important and you're not better than Naseem Shah. I'm sorry. I honestly would have
yeah,
probably promoted Naseem Shah up the order. If he's going to
yeah,
be, keep it simple and hit a few big shots without any pressure,
yeah.
it's much better than your
Yeah. Yeah,
than your
in,
number
in
five, six, and
hindsight,
seven.
obviously, in hindsight conditions, and chasing a small total, people are going to say, "Oh, here we go, challenging our cricketing intellect." But I would have been tempted to put Naseem Shah and do a Sunil Narine type role. Just put him on the top of the order. Have a go. It's a free wicket.
Correct.
Go after the bowling. Score a quick 15, 20 of 10 balls, and that's it. The game is set. If it
Correct.
doesn't
And
work out, it
Pakistan
doesn't
had
work out
done this
anyway.
before. Pakistan did it with Abrar Ahmed in the Test series against England. I remember they just promoted him up the order, just slightly, not that much, but
Yeah,
just because it's a free wicket, and as you say, just without any pressure, you're just trying to
yeah,
just swing, and it's so much
exactly.
better than your number 5, 6, and 7 who are clearly in a rut, fighting for their place in the team, overthinking every shot selection and decision that they make on the
I mean,
spot.
that India sort of did that with Akshar Patel as well, right? I mean, they had a right left thing as well, but they could have sent in Dubey or Jadeja, but they sent Akshar, who's
Yeah,
probably the weakest of the three lefties.
I would say so.
Um,
Yeah, but he
but
did
he was
well,
probably
I
the
thought.
best. Exactly, he was the best in the end, right? Um, so I think there was, but I mean, it's just none of that thinking. It's easy to say in hindsight. Obviously, if Naseem Shah
Of
it
course.
didn't work out, then you would be like, oh, what happened? But there would have been some, or even Shaheen, I guess, for all his all round credentials, just have a swing.
Yeah, but I think that they tried that with Imad. That they didn't promote Imad because they wanted him because he was more aggressive and probably more in form than Iftikhar, more
Yeah, but
aggressive than
I
Shadab.
don't know what
So they
message
promoted
was
him
sent.
for the right
Yeah,
left.
but I don't know what the message was when they sent him out, because he didn't at all try to play a shot. His only
Completely.
boundary was
He
an
did
outside edge four. So
completely, and he was there for the right-left combination, especially against Axar Patel, right? And Akshar then was taken out of the attack and then brought back because they had to bring him back. And here Imad Wasim, who was literally brought in for that matchup, and he just couldn't connect. So I think now it is fair to say, after so many years of where Pakistan set low totals in World T20 or T20 World Cup matches against India, and we always blamed the toss. So we always blamed batting first, and then Kohli would ace the chase, and we'd be like, oh, we lost because of the toss. Here was the complete opposite. Here we had India at 119 all out. We were in a massive ascendancy when you take into account. Now, I know it's 50-50 because we have context, but taking context out of the equation, conditions are better. You know what you need to get. You don't need to set a total. It's a low total. It will never get this easy, right? And you had a chance of reversing everything that Pakistan has been subjected to in 2012, 2014, 2016, and you bottled it. And it's fair to say that Pakistan were outplayed clearly from a batting perspective, and dare I say, for all the credit to our bowlers in the bowling department, because their bowling was phenomenal.
yeah,
Absolutely phenomenal. It wasn't erratic. Yes, you can get those amazing hat tricks. So, well, we got two almost hat tricks, two of two balls. Oh, wow. But if you sort of spread that off with really
yeah.
erratic bowling at 8 runs and over just shortly prior, so if you sort of, it just doesn't make as much of an impact.
Yeah, look, it's there are countless more reasons. I'm sure people in the comments will give us 100 more reasons. Well, you didn't talk about this, you didn't talk about that. But at the end of the day, this team is just not good enough.
Yeah.
They should. I mean, yeah. And in a way, it's good that that now everything is exposed out in the open. If magically Naseem Shah hit two sixes at the end, everything would have been masked, and you don't, everything would be
Just
people
like
will
in the
crack
T20
cracks, and
World
then
Cup 22.
exactly
Completely
right,
agree.
because that's always the defense that people give. Oh, this team reached the final of the T20 World Cup like 2 years ago, without really understanding the context of it, the real, you know, toxicity, I guess, when it comes to the team atmosphere, some weird news coming out about groupings and how people are not speaking to each other. Apparently, they refused to do the practice session before the Canada game. Says a lot. Their priorities. So maybe it's good, come back home, kick out probably 9 of these 11 players, I would say, or 8. Start afresh. Honestly, no, get in a fresh team. They can't do any worse than these guys. I'd rather, in Pakistan has to go through the qualifying and whatever in the next for the next World Cup anyway. Have a big change, and just see how it goes, because with this team, there's no hope, no chance. They should just be made memes and trolls, and that's what they're good for. Have their niharis and their shawarmas and whatever the hell they're having, and they should just go back home.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly no fitness regime, right? I think you can see that our great tournament victories coincide with the highest levels of fitness. I mean, that 2017 team was not the best team that Pakistan has ever had. If anything, it was really weak on batting, but it was really fit, right? So fitness is completely out of the equation at the moment. And yeah, look, you're right. I mean, this is perhaps, you know, what should have happened 2 years ago in 2022. Had this happened in 2022, if we knew that we were not going to get the World Cup in our hands in 22, I think I would have preferred getting out in the group stages and having more of a chance in 24 had those
Yeah.
actions been taken then. But it didn't, and we are where we are. And, I have to also say, like, whenever Pakistan drops a catch, somehow the other opposition makes us pay. Like, they.
Yeah.
But when someone else drops the catch of Pakistan, we somehow actually turn it into a blessing for the opposition. Like Rizwan, for God's sake, like he had the easiest sitter dropped and he couldn't cash in. For some reason, it always happens against us. And obviously, us conspiracy theorists will think that, oh, things are so unfair. But actually, I've come to the realization that Pakistan went for short term success. They went and promoted players from the PSL who didn't have much background in first class cricket. I can say very simply that, it's there's something called beginner's luck. Sometimes you come in, nobody's really heard of you, you make a massive impact, and then you're riding on that impact for a long time, up until a point when your growth has stunted. And the reason it's stunted is because you haven't learned how to evolve. You haven't learned how to adapt to changing your game or different conditions, or when the opposition works out your weaknesses due to all the analysis and video recordings that are available all around the world.
Mohammad
Haris
Haris.
Rauf, and so many others. I think we both were
Mohammad
thinking of
Haris.
the same person. Mohammad Haris, actually, I think he should have been there. Like, he is the person, Mohammad Haris, Asif Ali, whoever
Yeah.
it is, we missed that intent. But moving that aside, I just think generally you are not having a prerequisite of a certain level or
Yeah.
certain level of first class experience. And I just think that's going to cost you in the long run, as it has now. All those players you invested in 4 or 5 years ago suddenly are proving themselves to be one trick ponies. They are unable to evolve. They are unable to think when the going gets tough. Like, it won't always be rosy. You are going to be hit. But the important thing is to
Yeah.
think how you're going to come back. Shine Afidi, Haris, I can name you all, and the batters, every single batter from 1 to 9 cannot think how they can get themselves out of a rut. Whether you're being smacked for boundaries as a bowler, or whether you're being given really good deliveries and it's and soaking up dot balls as a batter. You don't know how to
Yeah.
get out of that rut. And the mental
Yeah.
conditioning is missing. So I agree with you. I think the PSL is a double-edged sword because you are not prioritizing the infrastructure that sits beneath it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Look, obviously you can't compare it to the other leagues, IPL and stuff, because the quality of
Yeah.
cricket is completely different,
Oh,
and now it's beginning to show. The only thing I'd say is we haven't really touched a lot about Rizwan. I mean, he was awful. I think he's sometimes just because of his personality and the way he is, and he's probably his stats. He doesn't get a lot of criticism, and I think he should. And this is in recent past his third big innings that he has played, and he scored the runs, but he has lost Pakistan the game eventually. The semi-final of 2021, where yes, he went to hospital the night before, but he scored 67 of 50 something balls again. In the context of the game, very slow. The Asia Cup final, again, he got a 50 or 48 balls, something like that again. Lost Pakistan the game. And then yesterday, the same thing. I'm sure there will be countless others where he goes on and gets a 40, 50, 60 sometimes, way below the asking rate, and ends up losing Pakistan the game. And people will not talk about this, but it is a fact that he is. Look, something needs to be done about it. He needs someone. Needs to have a word with him. He's, I don't know. Maybe he's not ready for T20 cricket. Maybe if you do go with Usman Khan as the keeper and play and drop Rizwan. I'm saying it's not gonna happen in this tournament, but you have to think about beyond this tournament, or get Mohammad Haris in or someone else. I'd rather like Saim Ayub, Mohammad Haris, they get their chances and Pakistan lose, because at least they're doing something different. What's the point with these guys playing at 110, 120 strike rates, 70 strike
I
rates,
agree.
and losing you the game? So
I agree. I
yeah,
mean,
look,
Rizwan, look, Rizwan has won matches for Pakistan, like the game against Sri Lanka. I know it was an ODI, but we were chasing a big total, so it's not like he hasn't. But it's just, I agree with you. It's almost as if some days he wakes up and he times the ball brilliantly, and other days when he ends up being sort of short on timing, he doesn't find a way to get back on his feet. Right? He soaks up too many dot balls. He doesn't know how to rotate strike, and he always looks for a release shot. Always. And now bowlers know his weakness. It's clear when he starts an innings, his offside play is quite clumsy. And
yeah,
for somebody of Rizwan's stature, he's considered Pakistan's second best or third best batter. It's actually pretty poor that he hasn't developed his game further. In credit to Fakhar Zaman here, because I remember previously, a couple of years ago, we were saying the same thing about Fakhar Zaman in that he was really good against spacers, but opposition bowlers or opposition teams kept bringing in their spinners when Fakhar Zaman was on strike or at the crease, because he had a real weakness against spinners. But he's really worked on that. You can see
yeah,
that now. He target spinners. Right now, he has a
Yes.
much better rounded game. That's what you want to see in a Rizwan as well, right? Even Babar Azam, you can throw that. When was the last time he won a game for us? I don't care if you are the highest, you're leading T20 international run scorer. That reminds me of, Sohail Abbas in hockey, who's the highest the highest goal scorer across hockey, or second highest now, I think. Nobody remembers his name. Nobody, because he came at a time when Pakistan hockey was in decline. He never won matches. Same with Babar Azam. Nobody's going to remember you. I'm sorry to say, this record will get broken. No one will remember you until you win matches. Okay,
Yeah.
and I thought yesterday was tailor made, tailor made for Babar Azam, because it didn't need a sort of 150, 145, 150 strike rate. It needed his bread and butter, which was around 130, even less than that. Um, and I thought the conditions meant he was the batter with the best technique in Pakistan, and he should have stayed till the end. He knew it. He knew it.
Yeah.
For him, this would have been a piece of cake, these conditions, and he looked pretty comfortable until he does, unfortunately, what he's become quite accustomed to doing, which is throwing his wicket away. Harmless delivery, I have to say. It was really,
Y-
really poor to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think the chart sheet can get longer and longer and longer as we go on. I think we can go on forever, but I'm sure we've said enough. Let us know in the comments, everyone, if there's anything else that we should have mentioned, apart from all the other, uh, well, all the other things that Pakistan did not do right. Um, but yeah, thanks, thanks a lot for watching. Let us know in the comments what you
One
think.
thing, Zayed,
Yeah,
before you close off, I think it's an important question. Now, look, we have to look ahead to the next game against Canada. I personally would bring in Sam Ayub and drop one of Shadab or Iftikhar. I drop Iftikhar personally. I think Shadab just offers a little more in the field as a fielder. It's come down to fielding between the two. They're both useless with bat ball, but
yeah.
I would probably bring Sam Ayub in place of Iftikhar.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Ayub can bowl that one overs. He actually opened the bowling in the PSL. Yes, that's not the right thing, but he can bowl. So if you need someone to bowl an over like Iftikhar, then Sam Ayub can do the same thing. So I would play him in the middle order, which is something I've been saying from day one. Well, not day one, day two maybe. But anyways, it doesn't matter. The tournament's out. I'm more thinking about what's going to happen after the tournament. But yes, on paper, I would play Sam Ayub for Iftikhar. Yeah, I mean, Iftikhar has been horrible. Um, but yeah, that for what it's worth, that's the change I would make. Um, but uh, but yeah, anyways, I'm sure a lot of you have been laughing at us at the comments and sending in your condolences and regards. But we'll have more content coming through. You can continue laughing at us after Pakistan's been destroyed by Canada and maybe Ireland as well. Why not go 4-0 or 0-4? But we will catch you in the next episode, and thank you for watching.